Nath. My camera overheated in literally 20 seconds being there. It's somewhere in between a mosque and a church.
Yes, you'll see
and
the
a temple.
10th year. It's a decade since he's been doing this.
Wow.
जैसे हम पढ़ाई करते हैं, बच्चे पढ़ाई करते कुछ आगे बढ़े नहीं.
Okay, that was a lot to take in. Oh, you?
That's like my new bike.
Are you Indian now?
Maybe. Namaste.
Nice to meet you. Namaste, brother. How are you?
Good.
We're back with Moshe in another vlog here, ladies and gentlemen. Not a vlog, but a documentary. Art. Fart.
Car.
Guys, we've got one for you today. We've got one for you today. It involves an old man sitting around 40 fires in like 45-degree heat. We've got one for you today. So we're in South Delhi area, New Delhi, India. This is a temple known as the Temple of the Naths. From what I understand, it's some sort of branch of Hinduism, but I'm probably wrong about that. But we've got a friend that we're meeting here. Her name is Lakshmi. She's amazing. And she's going to be sort of bringing us into this way of life. It's going to be an incredible day today. Hey, Lakshmi.
Hey.
How you doing? Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm good.
How are you?
I'm good. You're surviving the heat and the chaos of India.
I think it's about to get a little bit hotter too, right?
It is.
Okay, maybe you can explain to us where we are right now, because this place is amazing.
Okay, so you are in a very, very old temple, but there's a very interesting history here. If you ever read up or research the term Nath, N-A-T-H, you'll find that you're connected with a very ancient yogic and mystic tradition, which actually has its umbrella all over the world. Most of the world religions at some point have had contact with the Naths. If there is yoga, which is alive and thriving in the world today, it's primarily because of the Naths. And the Guru Gorakhnath, to whom this temple is dedicated, is one of the beings, I won't even call him a human, but one of the great beings who has kept and developed the science of yoga as the world understands and follows now through a lot of books and practices.
Wow.
And so on. These practices have touched the Sufis, they have touched other world religions, and of course they continue to influence the world hugely. The essence of the teachings is to help anybody in the human body, if they so wish, to understand the science of how we can reclaim the divinity which is within us. So it's not some mumbo jumbo. There is a whole science, the science of yoga and Kriya Yoga, which step by step guides any soul who's searching to his or her highest potential. So that's a little bit about the philosophy. But this particular spot, wherever the Naths are, you'll begin to see there will be a fire which is kept burning round the clock, because the fire, which also represents the inner fire in our solar plexus, the digestive fire, the flame.
That has something to do with Kundalini Yoga?
Absolutely. So Kriya Yoga is that. It's the base and the root of all Kundalini Yoga. I mean, that's the modern term, and of course, it's misrepresented in multiple ways now. But yes, the origin goes back to this. And so the Nath yogis, from what I have understood, they have the amazing capacity to burn up a lot of the karmas and causes within this inner fire. So the outer fire that's kept burning wherever they are. Like a very famous Nath yogi is Shirdi Sai Baba. He's known all over the world. And Shirdi Sai Baba, when he was in this place called Shirdi in Maharashtra, which is in central India, over 100 years there is an undying flame which has been kept burning. So this outer fire represents the inner fire. And this particular spot that you are in is very close to the exact spot where 500 years ago Gorakhnath manifested physically. So he's ageless, but he keeps appearing through the ages whenever it's required, wherever it's required.
And he's a god, Gorakhnath?
He's a being.
He's a being.
He's a yogic, mystical being.
Okay.
Okay.
These are all new terms for me. I apologize
Yeah.
for anybody watching.
That's fine. This is India. You'll have to add a lot of new vocabulary to your
And-
dictionary.
This is, so I'm looking around, right? I can see Ganesh, I can see Hanuman,
Yes.
I see Vishnu, I think.
Yes.
I see Kali, I think I saw once.
Yes.
So
Oh.
is this Hindu?
So, the mystical and yogic origins of Hinduism goes back to the term that we call Sanatan Dharma, which actually loosely translated means it's the eternal, timeless code for any soul who wants to be born in this earthly dimension. Hinduism is not a religion, it's a way of life, and it's actually a set of codes for a soul who wants to actually reach his or her highest potential. And what the Nath tradition does is they give us the technology, the science and technology through yoga, through Kriya Yoga, through other practices, through breath work, the Ashtanga Yoga, the 8 arms which form the basis of yoga, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, all the way up to Samadhi. They tell us how to do this so that each of us, you and I, can also discover the God within, the divinity within. So I guess in a way, these guys tell you, look, all the power is within you. You know, get your act together and understand the reality of who you are. So the Naths can't be defined into any other kind of religious box. They're all about breaking all boxes, which is why you'll see the Naths have influenced religious traditions all across the planet through the millennia. And that's the story. So anyway, this place is where, very close to the actual spot where he appeared 500 years ago, to tell the local villagers, and you're seeing some of them, their descendants, to dig at a particular spot. And you would have just passed a pond when you came in, saying that there is an ancient pond there which is over 10,000 years ago, when Lord Ram used to be on this planet, and Lord Ram himself has come to this spot, and so the pond is called Ram Talab. Talab means pond. He asks the villagers to dig this place, and then he says you'll find 2 very ancient idols. I'll just show them to you. He said re-establish them and look after this water body. It's a sacred water body. So from 500 years, the villagers have been, sort of congregating here. This is the main temple for 15 villages around this area, and they handed the entire thing over to the Nath tradition of Gorakhnath. And today later you will meet Baba Balak Nath ji, who's the current head, and he has his own practices which are way beyond what you and I can even fathom. Okay, so that's the history of this place. Oh, you hear this drum and beating. You have a depiction of how he appeared, and the villagers digging, and all of this is 500 years ago.
This is Gorakhnath?
Yes, that's
The blue.
the blue.
Wow. So he's a specific god for this area.
He is one of the saints or the mystics who's worshipped here, but not just here. If you ever go towards Nepal, you will reach a place called Gorakhpur, which is also one of his seats. But pretty much all across India, Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, all the way you will find these shrines where Gorakh has walked and visited over the years. So it's pretty fascinating. They can't be limited to time or space. These beings are beyond time and space.
But that's a little look at the depiction of him arriving.
Yeah, so he appeared in front of a villager, and then they begin to dig the pond.
I want to ask you a question about this, because this is very introspective and deeper than anything I have in my sort of system of faith, anything that I was taught of Judaism. Do people who practice this line of thought or believe in this, do they believe that Gorakhnath has traveled space and time and been to different dimensions and different planets and stuff is that sort of the
Yeah, but
gauge
that's
I'm
not
getting?
just Gorakhnath in a country like India. Most of the masters and saints have done that in the past and continue to do so. In fact, when you're back in India, we'll make sure you meet some living, existing saints who are able to go beyond time and space. But they come back with one message, that you and I can do that too. if we just know how to activate. So here is the thing, the science that they teach basically allows us to activate certain nerve centers in our brain. And for any human being, if those centers are activated one way or the other, then we open ourselves up to multidimensional experiences. And this is the time they say that more and more humans are ready for that awakening.
And this being, Balak Nath, is human like me and you? Or...
They would, I mean, I haven't seen him.
Right, of course.
Right?
I'm just asking a theoretical.
No,
I'm actually curious. It's like very interesting.
This is very interesting. See, so if you were to meet any of these beings, for example, my teacher in this lifetime, Sri M, is from the Nath tradition. He's known as Madhukar Nath in that tradition. If you were to meet him, he's like you and me. We'll sit down and have a cup of tea, or walk around, joke around. But what happens internal? The internal state is anything but limited. And I guess when you are in the proximity of a teacher like that, something in you also begins to transform. And so that's kind of how the journey continues. And this tradition, just like the Sufis whom you visited yesterday, it really places a lot of importance on the guru-student, the teacher-student relationship. Most of the wisdom and transformation is a transmission rather than, anything that you keep doing. You have to do a lot of practice in whatever, sort of messages that your teacher has given you, but it's actually transmission from the teacher to the student.
You cycle it from guru to student, and that's how you keep the thing going.
Yes.
These are concepts I'm not familiar with at all.
Well,
it's very interesting to learn about all this for
you
the
had
first
the
time.
courage to step into the dimension called India. What else do you expect? It's going to open you up. India, you can't go back from India unchanged. So
Yeah, it does actually make you think a lot, because I have met so many people, particularly like Europeans or like Americans who have visited India, who have had such a massive shift. And sometimes it's like in a yogic way or in like a vegan lifestyle way. And it's interesting. It's not like sometimes I don't give it the most thought. I'm always like, I sort of brush it off sometimes, because I'm like, what could have this travel experience really brought to you? But I see if you really do look into things deeply here, there's like a world of stuff that I don't even know where it begins.
It's a world, but the fact is, somewhere you must have been ready to be exposed to this, because these things don't happen randomly. These beings don't waste their time. So if you've been invited into this space, obviously there is some level of readiness within you to at least be open to other possibilities, which are way beyond the world of five senses. Our understanding of this world is the five senses that usually function for most of us human beings. These are beings who operate with senses which are way beyond the five senses. And so the invitation is, come, walk this path, allow your own multidimensionality to open up and see what happens within and outside. The cows and everything, the cow dung is there. Now, so all this cow dung that they burn, this cow dung, when it's burnt properly, it cleanses and purifies our lungs, the air and everything, and is the fertilizer we use for non-chemical pesticide food.
So that's cow. Can I film it?
Yes, you can. Just don't touch anything.
Okay.
Except you can take ash from the bowl. That's allowed. But just
Can I step up here? Yeah. So this
very welcoming. They don't have any rules.
this is a pile of cow dung, and they burn it.
What is burning there also?
And then what are all these
That's sugar. That's candy. It's just offering.
offerings?
Offerings are usually sweets and fruits and so on.
Okay. So you're offering sugars, candies, flowers.
And you'll see that sometimes this is left for ants, and the other offerings are left for birds and animals to come, because the Hindus believe that all life forms, not just the human one, is equally important to maintain the balance of life and nature. And we are just one species within the billions of species in Mother Nature. So that has been the fundamental edifice of the Hindu way of thinking and living.
This creature on the staff here, is that Naga?
That's right.
That's Naga.
That's Naga, because the Naths, since you asked where they are from, they have a very strong connection with the dimension of the Nagas, which are the higher snakes, not sort of the ones we see.
interesting.
And I'm going to send you some information which will help you understand. If you see Patanjali is known as the father of yoga, the one who wrote this book called Yoga Sutras. Anybody who's into yoga would have heard of Patanjali and Yoga Sutras. He's depicted as half human, and the bottom half is a coiled snake. That's not an accident. The spine that we have, they believe has come from the snakes from the Sarpaloka. The spine, everyone, you and I have. They used to be our teachers in ancient times. And then, of course, we humans, we get the information and then we decide we are smarter than them. And then we begin to abuse our own teachers. And so they left the planet, most of them, and went back to their dimensions. But we see their representations everywhere. We see it in religious symbols. If you look at the doctors have the Hippocrates symbol.
Right.
It's a staff with two snakes. All of that comes from there because they were the original healers, the original teachers, the original technicians.
Wow.
And technologists.
Yeah, because in Southeast Asia and a lot of temples we saw, like a lot of Buddhist temples, the
Yes.
Naga was depicted as a dragon, but similar idea,
Yes.
like multiple heads and long body. Amazing to see it here as well.
Hanuman statues found inside, so we don't know how many tens of thousands of years that is, found inside the pond. When
Wow.
Balak asked him 500 years ago to take.
This is the original one.
It was taken out of the water body 500 years ago. We have no idea just how old it is, but it's very, very, very old. We're talking of tens of thousands of years.
Wow. So Hanuman was worshipped even tens of thousands of years
Yes,
ago.
from the time of Lord Ram, and Ram roughly was there between 10 to 15,000 years ago. I wouldn't know. Now they're getting closer to actually pinpointing. Krishna, we know, was born 5,032 years ago. Ram was maybe 10 to 15,000 years in between that period. I don't have the exact dates, but I'm sure others have done the research.
And amazingly, I keep seeing this all over India. This is like, you know, we keep seeing this.
And that's Ma, goddess. God, right? This is the base of our spine is the Mooladhara or base chakra, which is red in color, and seated there is the Kula Kundalini, who's the goddess. She's seated in that sign in the yantra. So the star is the yantra at the base of our spine, from where the life force or prana or Kundalini begins its journey up through the chakras, if you are a yogic or a tantric practitioner with proper guidance. So you'll see the symbol everywhere.
That
It's a
symbol is called what in India?
We call it as a yantra.
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 Yantra is a geometrical representation of esoteric mysticism and truths. So you'll have different yantras. So this particular one, Ma, represents the Devi, the goddess, who's at the base of the spine. And the whole journey of the soul across lifetimes, the yogis believe, is the journey of the mother from the base all the way till she reaches the top of her head, the Sahasrara, where Shiva or the male energy is seated. And when they unite, then you're free of the bondage of the cycle of life and death. That's what all yogic and spiritual practices are.
Wow. It's amazing that we keep seeing it everywhere. It's all over. Even in the Sufi mosque in Islam, I never seen it before until yesterday. Lakshmi, you can explain what we're about to see.
Okay, so in my limited understanding, because in the evening he's going to tell you when he's not sitting
Okay.
in the midst of like huge fires. Jesus. He will explain to you about this ceremony that he has been doing. Only the highest yogis can put themselves through something like this. So what is happening, what you're about to see, is a 40-day ritual that's done by the head of this temple, where he sits in peak summer surrounded by 21 bonfires with cow dung and other things, and every day one more cake of cow dung is added on all 21. So by the time the 40 days are over, I think he's sitting in the midst of 21 bonfires with about 65 or 70 cow dung cakes which are burning, and he sits, you know, exposed to the sun underneath that. He's a tremendous being. When you meet him, you'll know. He's been doing this for the last 10 years. How does he do it? I have no idea. You know, when you talk about pushing the limits of being human and going into beingness, probably you're witnessing this is what happens when humans cross over to be a being.
This doesn't even make any sense. It's literally cooking alive. This is like takes all the things of like Wim Hof and surviving in super cold climate, and I'm sitting here for 30 seconds. It's so hot. It's so hot. And he's surrounded by fires. We can go inside. Okay. This is unbelievable. We're gonna go, and I can't believe we're getting to meet him, to talk to a person who does this.
You will, and when you go there,
Don't talk, okay.
but just take all the video.
Okay, so there you guys go. When I go down there, I won't be able to talk. Something that I think is important to mention this whole time, that before we came to India, we were told by so many people, don't come now, it's so hot. This is the worst time to be in India. But this happens only now, only this time of year, that we get to experience and see this man pushing himself. And I'm so grateful for the experience. So, take a look. So hot. This is all the cow dung that's being burned. Wow, that was crazy to see that. And literally my camera.
You are probably or definitely the first set of YouTubers who would be showing this to the world outside this small part of India. Not even people in India know about it.
It's crazy.
It's crazy how you're here and it's all happening.
It's also a testament to how hot it is. My camera overheated in literally 20 seconds being there. It's an
Wow.
oven.
She was telling me before that he covers himself in mud and
Yes, a mix of mud and cow dung. That's his only kind of protection, but actually that would probably dry up, you know.
That's what I'm thinking. I think that would also cook him more because that's how people cook food sometimes. is
Exactly,
in
you're
mud.
right. You're absolutely right. So you're right.
because isn't it the same thing with like elephants? They put mud and dust on themselves to cool them down.
Really?
Yeah, but not in a fire.
We're going to.
Not in the fire, but in the sun.
I think we should ask him that when
Yeah.
we meet him in the evening.
Yeah.
I haven't quite figured out, but what already strikes me is how he doesn't move. Like it's almost as if he's not breathing.
Yeah, it looked like I was trying to see him breathe and I didn't see him
He
breathe
doesn't.
not once.
So I don't know what they do really, but all that we'll ask him. And he's been doing this for 10 years.
All these, by the way, these are all shrines?
These are all shrines of the gods who represent. So, in the Hindu understanding, every god, they kind of say, like, how can you have so many gods, 84,000 gods or whatever? So, in my understanding, the rishis and the saints have taken different aspects of energy which is there in the quantum field of existence, and each of those energies represent a certain frequency, a certain spectrum, and they have called them a particular god. So all the gods that you see represent a certain spectrum of energy, and if you tune into that, then you receive certain vibrations, or whatever it is that you need in your life, obstacles, etc., are removed. That's my understanding of the science behind all of these gods and goddesses we have here.
And when you come into this temple, you visit them, you do a prayer, and then you hit a bell?
Yeah. We first hit the bell to tell them, hey, we are here. Of course,
Okay.
they know that, but it's our way of saying hello. And if you see the representation there, that is Lord Vishnu, who is the in a way, the maintainer of all of existence, and his energy, the feminine energy, that is Lakshmi. So, Lakshmi, again, see, this is a 5-headed serpent called Ananta. And the ocean that you see is the ocean of the Milky Way. So this is all a representation of the universe. And again, the role of the serpents as holding the power and energy will be visible, whether it is the serpent around Lord Shiva's neck, whether it's the serpent on which Lord Vishnu rests. You will see
Can I go in here?
Yes, absolutely.
Look at this. It's somewhere in between a mosque and a church.
Yes, you'll see
and
the
a
doors,
temple.
which basically show you the Sufi, the Islamic influences. See, in India, coexistence has been the story of India. Whether it was the ancient Jews or the Arabs or the later Mughals or the Christians, the Britishers, whoever came, the Turks, they were all welcomed and allowed to become one of this great land. The Parsis, the people who worshipped fire from Iran, all of them came into India. This is how the gurus used to teach the students. So this is Lord Ram and his brother Lakshman, learning from their guru Vasishtha, sage Vasishtha, who's one of the most prominent rishis in the Indian system. So now just imagine, 500 years ago, Guru Gorakhnath appears just a few feet away in the jungles in front of one villager from this local community and says, I need you to dig this spot because there is an ancient pond here from the time of Lord Ram, which is between 10 to 15,000 years. And this water body is very sacred and needs to be preserved. And he goes on to say that you'll find a few idols here, take them out and build a temple to house them properly. And so through the ages, this pond has gone underground and then been revived again. So we were blessed as a part of an NGO called the Satsang Foundation. Since the last year and a half, we've been trying to clean up this water body and see how we can secure it in a way that it doesn't get too polluted and too dirty. So that's an ongoing process, but it's a part of the larger work we are trying to do to revive the water bodies in and around Delhi.
Wow, amazing. People will go bathe here? No.
They do bathe, but if some ancestor dies, they'll put all the offerings into the water, and because it's stagnant water, it's not moving water, then it becomes a mess and the get bloated. But because we've been regularly working on it, you'll see there are fish, there are turtle, all that is there,
Yeah, you can see the fish swimming around.
and the turtles. So, and there are 2 oxygenators which we are now we have to change their more oxygenation goes up to the next level.
Okay, my friend. So we are back. It's been a few hours now. When we were here last time, it was at peak sunlight. I literally couldn't breathe from the heat. And now it's like almost 7 p.m.
Yes.
So why have we come back now?
We've come back to see the great being who was sitting under the sun today and was kind of really driving Tal insane, like how can anybody do that? So, he insists on getting some answers. So here we are.
I'm
to
actually
talk to the Babaji.
super excited to speak to him. Like Didn't know I was gonna have an opportunity on this trip to speak to somebody who does something like this, but I have so many questions, and I'm excited to get insight about what makes a human being do something like that, or not a human being,
A being.
a being. So we remove our shoes again before entering.
बाबा जी से कल बात हुई थी, तो सुबह आके उन्होंने वो किया, फिर कहता है शाम को बाबा जी ने बोला, कहता है बैठे हुए उधर ही। हाँ बैठे हुए। अच्छा कम कम।
Oh, it's a lot cooler now.
ओह आप कैसे बाबा सुबह आए थे, ये तो हैरान हो गए। अमेरिका से आए हैं दोनों, तो उनको समझ ही नहीं आ रहा ये क्या है, कैसे है। तो थोड़ा जब भी आप शायद आरती के बाद जब भी थोड़ा वो सवाल आपसे करेंगे, आप डायरेक्टली बताइए।
हेलो
प्लीज लाइक यू।
हाय बेबी।
ये 9 साल से पूरी दुनिया में घूम रहे हैं, अलग अलग कल्चर्स वगैरह पे कुछ ना कुछ बनाते रहते हैं। So you had one question about what is it Babaji puts on his body before he sits under the sun. So it is the ash that is created from the bonfire. So just think of the cycle. It first burns, it becomes ash, and then he applies that with water. That's his only layer of protection from the sun.
And that keeps him protected from the heat.
वो गर्मी से बचाता है आपको कि नहीं? No. Oh, that's because he's a sadhu, a sannyasi, a renunciant. It's just a part of their tradition, so it has nothing to do with cutting down the heat.
Yeah, I assume that it would only make it hotter.
Yeah, that's probably true.
But that's good to know. So at least we got an answer for that.
Yes. और कितने साल से कर रहे हैं आप ये लोग? 10th year. It's a decade since he's been doing this.
Wow.
40 days every year.
Wow. Is this an appropriate time to sort of ask questions, like now, or should we do it later? Or?
वो कह रहे हैं कि अभी मैं गलत टाइम पे तो नहीं सवाल कर रहा. It's fine. Till he goes there, you can ask questions.
Okay. Can you ask him on my behalf what made him start sitting near fire?
वो पूछ रहे हैं आपसे कि बाबा आप ये तपती धूप,
जैसे हम पढ़ाई करते हैं, बच्चे पढ़ाई करते कुछ आगे बढ़ने के लिए, ये भी इसी तरह।
He's very modest, okay? So what he's saying is, oh, this is just my duty as a sadhu, because I'm from the tradition of Gorakhnath. And in Hatha Yoga, which is yoga, I told you, yoga is there on this planet only because of the Nath yogis. And he's from the Nath tradition. So he says, if I want to advance, it's just like children need to do something to advance in class. So this is one of the lessons that I undertake. I'm sure it's a lot more than that, but he will always be very modest.
So this is just part of his journey.
Yes, it's a part of his journey.
Okay. I have to ask, like, what is the biggest lesson he's learned by putting himself in this condition?
ऐसे भी गुरुओं का नाम खराब ना हो, उनका जिस मार्ग पे उन्होंने भेजा है, उन्हीं को सत्य के रूप में चलना है।
So
ना हो कुछ भी, और भविष्य युगों का भले के लिए कोई पाप मारते हुए होंगे वो कट जाएंगे।
wow. His only intent with this is that the name and the fame of his gurus, the gurus in this tradition and lineage, does not get spoiled in any way. He prays that he himself continues to walk on the path of truth that his teachers have laid before him. He prays for the welfare of everybody when he is in this space of communion. And if there are some negative karmas from the past, he hopes that it just gets absolved and transmuted so that he can continue to carry on this really, really important legacy and tradition that has been handed over to him.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of international people who watch this video and are like, how does he even survive this? And especially from the perspective of pain, maybe you can tell him I stood next to this for like 20 seconds and was literally, I felt like I was in an oven. So maybe maybe you can ask him, what does he feel when he's in there? Does he feel any pain, or does he get overheated?
यहाँ पे और क्या महसूस होता है?
गुरु के नाम पे बैठे हैं बस, उन्हीं के ऊपर है सब। करने वाले वो, बचाने वाले, मारने वाले वो। उनके नाम पे शरीर है तो उन्हीं के नाम पे। साधु का शरीर परमात्मा के लिए होता है, सेवा के लिए।
What he's saying, this is the language of complete surrender. He's saying that whatever I experience, he said, I experience nothing because my teachers and gurus are taking care of me. And whatever happens, the good, bad, the in between, is all their doing. It's their grace, it's their protection. And as a sadhu, my life is only meant for the goodness of others. So everything else is immaterial for me. So this is completely a state of surrender, which people like you and I, we struggle with that a lot. I know you've had to experience some of that on this trip to India. There's a lot about surrender that's been happening, but this is possible only because he is so anchored in that state and space of surrender. Let me just, with his permission, take his name. His name is Baba Balak Nath ji, and he's the head of this Gorakhnath temple in South Delhi, India. बाबा जी, इनका जो सवाल है, ये कहते हैं सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट सवाल ये है, आपका संदेश दुनिया में ले जा सकते हैं।
I love his smile. He's so awesome.
Well, he loves your smile. इतना है, ये तुम्हें को ट्रांसलेट नहीं करना।
सबके मार्ग पे चले दुनिया और अपने माँ बाप की, गुरुओं की सेवा करें। मेरा भी यही मकसद है, बाकी मैं ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं करता।
He said that, you know, the world should walk on the path of truth and righteousness. Serve your parents, your family, your friends, the world. He says this is the main thing. So just, you know, use your life in service. He says this is the message I want to give.
So after he comes out in the evening time, he comes out of the tent and he's available to just chill with people. This is like Baba chill time.
Totally. So if
So
they have
cool.
problems, any struggle in life, they need answers for questions, whether it's to do with marriage, children, jobs, whatever it is, they come to him seeking guidance.
And he makes himself very accessible to anyone.
He is very accessible. I can say that it's a blessing to be in his vicinity. I feel very fortunate these last 2 years. I've been able to come here, and his love and support in all the work we do, including the cleaning of water bodies and everything. It's not tangible, Tal. These masters operate at a totally different level. We don't even understand what all they do for us very quietly. As you can see, he's a man of few words. But the power of his silence and his spiritual sincerity is such that it has such a ripple effect in whoever he comes into contact with.
And we didn't talk about this earlier, but this is where Baba lives
Yes, during this, for 40 days.
for 40 days. Wow.
Oh, you had another question about what he eats and drinks.
Yeah.
ये पूछ रहे थे कि 40 दिनों में आप खाते क्या हैं? Fruit. Just fruit. मतलब normal खाना नहीं खाते. He lives on fruits for 40 days. It's mostly a fast.
Mostly a fast. And water as much as he can, or also limited?
पानी.
एक जगह इकट्ठे होके वो रक्षा करते।
So he's saying that, you know, one of the significance of the fire is wherever you have fire, you see a confluence of all the 5 elements. You can't have fire without air, oxygen. You can't have fire without water, right? You can't have fire lit without earth, and the smoke goes into the ether. So wherever the 5 elements come together, it serves as a protection for the entire field.
Okay, that makes... Okay. Does he know how long he's going to be doing this for? The fire?
Going forward?
Yeah. Is this too much questions, or it's okay to give?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, आगे कितने साल और करेंगे?
जब तक गोरखनाथ जी करवाएं।
As long as Gorakhnath ji is going to ask him to do it, he's going to do it.
Okay.
Thank you, Baba. Ha ha. Now after the ceremony we can.
Thank you, Baba. Baba.
Later on you can touch his feet. It's amazing.
Yeah, what's the touching the feet all about?
When we are in the presence of a wise being, we lower our own ego by bowing down. So it's about putting our ego down. Always knowledge flows like water from top to bottom. So only when you are bent forward can you receive the wisdom that they carry.
For the blessings.
Yes.
Just question between you and me, but kind of interesting for the video as well.
Yeah.
Did I take up everyone's time with him right now by asking questions?
No. This is important too. He's been telling me since some time, to get the messages out. So this was just a perfect thing. I'm telling you, you've been called in. He said it clearly. You can't meet him if there wasn't an earlier, stronger connection. So don't feel bad, and he won't do anything if he doesn't have to or needs to.
He's an OG. I like the way he walks. He's got a lot of...
He's amazing.
Yeah.
He really is.
Send him a lobby. So what is everyone gathering here for right now?
For the what's called the arti. He's saying that thorns. Be careful. She's saying.
Okay. I thought I was stepping on something again.
He's saying come this side.
Okay. Can I move over there to the front? It's okay. Or should I sit here?
ओम नमः पार्वती पते हर हर महादेव हर। जय हो 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 पते हर हर महादेव हर। एक ओंकार तेरा दात तीन लोक में जय जयकार। नाथ बाजे काल बाजे ज्ञान की टोपी गोरख साजे गले नाथ पुष्पों की माला रक्षा करे श्री शंभो जति गुरु गोरखनाथ जी महाराज चार वाणी चंदा सूरज पवन एको देवा सर्वा देवा जो पाठ में परसो देवा कान गले करो। आदेश
शंकर जी मेरे शंकर जी भोलेनाथ नाथ मेरे शंकर
That's it. Okay, that was a lot to take in.
There's more now. The sound comes.
Is there any explanation for what we just witnessed?
Yes. So this is the offering to fire, because the energy of fire, like I said, is also the energy of protection and completion. And you see, when human beings came onto this earth, the first form of worship ever was the worship of the five elements in nature, because man sort of knew that if the fire gods, the water gods, the wind gods were not kind, he could not survive. And so they used to pray to the various elements of nature, seeking protection. So these traditions carry on from that time, respecting the fact that without fire, the energy of fire, there can be no life which is sustained. So this is a daily gratitude ceremony, acknowledging that ancient practice.
So now we're back into the complex of the temple, and there's another ceremony that happens daily as well.
Daily, every day, since God knows how many hundreds of years. Yes.
Channel download.
YouTube channel.
Where do you live to state?
The flame of the Kundalini, which moves up the central energy meridian or nadi, called the Sushumna nadi, in the body of a yogi, somebody who's mastered the science of yoga. Beings like Babaji, that's why they can sit under the sun in this heat. So the fire moves up. It doesn't go here and there. It moves up the Sushumna, the central nadi. That's the significance of the symbol of Trishul, something you'll see in all yogic and Shiva temples.
जी महाराज की ओम नमः पार्वती
पते हर हर महादेव।
ओम गुरुजी एक ओंकार तेरा दान तीन लोक में जय जयकार नाथ
You come and sit here. This is where then people again congregate to meet him,
Uh huh.
to seek answers for their problems and whatever it is. So,
And then he'll eat a banana?
no, he'll give sweets, bananas, whatever is the offering that day.
Okay.
It's distributed to everybody as a blessing. Any food that is offered to God first becomes sacred. It's consecrated, and so the belief is that when you eat that, the energy of the divine goes into you and gives you whatever blessings, protection, removal of obstacles that you need.
So usually the prasad is given in the morning, right?
No, anytime.
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 Okay.
Whenever it's offered to God after that. So
Gotcha.
it's not limited.
So it's not like the food here is set left to waste away in the temple. It's
Never.
given out for
Yes,
people to consume.
yes. See, like he said, this is similar to what they said in Nizamuddin yesterday that everything that used to come in used to be distributed out. So it's that similar thing. Nothing is really kept except as service. Everything else is given out.
So now it's chill time with Baba again.
Yes.
ठीक है, you go to house.
I go to house.
कटौरिया करा.
He stays close. Come, Tal.
I love this guy, he's so nice.
कौन है? Any other questions you have? Now is the time.
अरे पानी वानी पिलवाओ. अरे
Is this an act of worship, what people are doing, or more out of respect?
We'll ask.
Okay.
That's one of the questions. बाबा ये पूछ रहे हैं कि यहाँ पे हम लोग झुक के पाँव क्यों छूते हैं संतों के?
आशीर्वाद सबकी मनोकामना के लिए पूर्ण हो उनकी मनोकामना इसीलिए एक परंपरा है गुरु के नाते.
He said it's a tradition of the Guru for seeking blessings, to fulfill any of your wishes and desires. So they are bowing to him, but the blessing comes from the Guru Parampara or the tradition of the Gurus. And like I also said, it's about we put our ego down when we bend in front of eternal wisdom.
And Baba's dreadlocks.
Yes.
Is the dreadlocks a cultural thing?
No, it's in the tradition of the saints and sadhus. Even hair is supposed to be a transmitter of cosmic energy. But of course, I'm not sure how he maintains it. But
Has Baba ever been outside of India?
वो पूछ रहे हैं आप इंडिया से बाहर कभी गए?
नेपाल.
Nepal?
नेपाल. He's going to Nepal. ये next कोई गोरखपुर और नेपाल ही जा रहे हैं.
अभी हो गए
अच्छा, he's just come back from Nepal. He
Oh,
said.
wow.
महीने.
Last month. Wow.
और था
Gorkha.
पोखरण से ऊपर जाके पोखरा से ऊपर.
Pokhara?
Yeah. Gorkha is above Pokhara.
अपर मस्तान
कौन सा?
मतलब अपर मस्तान.
Upper Mastan.
वेरी
Very difficult. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, well, these are the places. See what you can.
बहुत प्रॉब्लम.
Oh, he said the road is very. He said the roads in Nepal are really bad.
Recently, like the last year has been really, really difficult for me on YouTube. And, well, obviously,
Thank you, Vinu.
thank you. Not necessarily advice, but just what are his thoughts on this whole journey that I've been on, and the fact that I like took the content in a really big different direction, trying to do something more meaningful. I'd love to hear what he has to say about it. Yeah.
तो बाबा ये एक अपने लिए एक निजी सवाल आपसे कर रहे हैं कि पिछले 1-1.5 साल से ये इनका चैनल है. इसमें वैसे तो 2.5 लाख लोग लगे हुए हैं, जुड़े हुए हैं, पर पिछले 1-1.5 साल में काफ़ी मतलब मुश्किलें स्ट्रगल्स हो रही हैं. तो पर अब जो है जो कर रही हैं ये इसको थोड़ा और क्या बोलते हैं मीनिंगफुल बनाना चाहते हैं. मतलब पहले चलो यहाँ खा लिया, वो कर लिया, ये खेल कूद, अब अपने आप चीज़ें एक ज़्यादा गहरी वहाँ पे जा रही है, पर मुश्किलें खूब हैं. तो ये आपसे पूछ रहे हैं कि आपका इन चीज़ों के बारे में क्या थिंकिंग है और थोड़ा इनका भविष्य के लिए आशीर्वाद.
तो हर चीज़ में आती है.
Facing obstacles will come in everything.
अब मैं तपस्या कर रहा हूँ, बारिश होगी, कहीं कुछ होएगा, होता है ना.
Right. So he said, look, when I'm doing my penance, suddenly it'll start to rain, or there'll be so much of breeze. So whenever you do any good, meaningful work, there will be obstacles. That is actually a sign that you're on the right path.
ये मृत लोक यहाँ पे सब दुख भोगने आ रहे हैं।
This is the realm of death, earth. Because in the end we have to die and go. So the souls who come here to experience what struggle and suffering is also. It's a world of duality.
Thank you. Dhanyavad. Baba's doing a special channel review as we're doing
He's
Baba Chill
transmitting,
time.
Yeah. He's transmitting. He's blessing you. He's blessing your channel.
Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you, Baba. This is masala chai. Can you see? Just look at it. Spoiled lot there.
They get cakes, huh?
All the cakes, all the sweetmeats.
Pleasure.
Very nice to meet you. Let's connect.
See you. Yeah, sure.
See you, man. Thank you.